big three factors in teacher behavior, categories in teacher behavior: enthusiasm, clarity, and interaction. And in my research and in other people's research, they sort of repeatedly emerge as being very basic, very important. They're almost always the ones that correlate the highest with student ratings of teaching. They correlate with the amount that students learn in courses. They correlate with how motivated students are about courses. They just seem to be the basic big three factors in teacher effectiveness from what I've done in my own research. So enthusiasm, well, an example of behaviors in the enthusiasm category, specific low inference behaviors, would include using humor in the classroom, maintaining eye contact with students, movement, gesture on the part of the instructor, facial expressions. Those are all specific behaviors that contribute to enthusiasm. According to my research, enthusiasm works because, for one thing, it's what makes students pay attention to the lecture. If the lecturer is doing all these kind of behaviors, these more sort of animated behaviors or stimulus variation behaviors, students seem to pay attention to somebody who's showing those types of behaviors. So I think that's a big factor. We've also found in some research that these enthusiasm behaviors actually help to structure the subject matter. They might signal that such and such a point is very important and another point is less important. Just through tone of voice you can possibly give that signal as to which are more important topics and which are less important topics. So definitely they're attention-getting behaviors, but they sometimes even serve to help students structure the subject matter or encode the subject matter. Clarity, behaviors in that category, they would include putting an outline on the blackboard, signaling the transition from one topic to the next, giving examples of concepts, repeating difficult ideas. Those are all specific behaviors that fall into the clarity category. Teachers who show those types of behaviors are seen by students as being easy to understand, easy to follow. Students can comprehend what they're saying. They seem to be very aware of what students already know about and how they can present their subject matter in such a way to make it fit in with what students already know about. So it's possible for someone to be very clear without being enthusiastic. That would be advantageous, but having both things together would be even more advantageous. But that seems to be the role that these clarity behaviors serve. They serve the role of helping students to encode material or encode information or comprehend information. It helps students to link their prior knowledge to the material that the instructor is presenting to them in the class. So that's the clarity category. The third category, interaction. These all seem to be behaviors that promote relations or discourse or interactions between the instructor and the students in the classroom. So the instructor is not just enthusiastic, the instructor is not just clear, but the instructor is actually making contact with the students. The students are being asked questions, the students are making comments during class. So specific behaviors that would fall into this category would include incorporating student ideas into the lecture, talking with students before and after class, asking questions of students during the lecture, encouraging students to make their own contributions or comments during the lecture. So even though it's a relatively large class, people who are high on this interaction category seem to be able to incorporate those types of behaviors. They've got students responding regularly and actively during the lecture. Not all of the time, of course, but students have lots of opportunity to get involved in the class and play a role in the class.